Imagine like a secret vault deep inside you, and it holds every answer you've ever looked for, every solution. What if getting in was just a matter of shifting your focus? That's what we're unlocking today. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really peeling back the layers of Chapter 11, Enlivening the Heart, from Roger Lanphear's book, Unified, A Course on Truth. We'll also be drawing from some really profound discussions in the Babaji Unified 2025 YouTube series, from the Meditate for Wellness channel. Our mission really is to show you how you can tap into this all-knowing intelligence that, according to these sources, is already yours inherently. And this connection will explore how it has the power to just fundamentally change your experiences, leading you away from suffering toward, real purpose and fulfillment. So at the very core of this is a powerful idea from the source. God knows everything. And this isn't just some abstract idea. The text gets specific, like the sheer breadth of this knowledge. It lists things like every law of nature, the interaction of molecules, the seasons, states of matter, spiritual worlds, gravity, time.
Right, the nature of love, purpose of mankind, balance of nature, galaxies. It just goes on and on.
Exactly. And what's really compelling, as you said, is that this huge amount of knowledge isn't like separate bits of data.
No, not at all. It's described as being contained within God's single conscious thought. The thought that created everything.
Yeah.
It's all one unified awareness.
A single thought. Wow. So if that universal intelligence that God thought is truly everything, then the source makes this really logical jump.
Yeah, it does.
It says, if we're made in the image of God, well, then it implies that we also know everything. What does that actually mean for us, though, that we know everything? Is it intuition or?
Well, the source suggests it's even more direct than that. It says, you are that one and same thought. So everything in God's thought is inherently just there for you to know, for you to think. The only thing you need to do, apparently, is tune into that thought and ask whatever you want to know. It's less about learning something new and more about remembering or accessing what's already part of your being.
That really puts our struggles in a different light, doesn't it? How often we fumble around.
Yeah, the book itself asks, how silly it is to wonder what course of action is in your wisest interest when the answers are supposedly right there.
Right. No need to guess or fumble. It's like looking everywhere for your keys and they're in your pocket. That kind of silly.
Exactly, that kind of silly. And the sources are clear. Suffering of any kind arises only when you aren't tapped into that knowledge. It even redefines mistakes.
Ah, yes, the mistakes.
Right, not as failures, but as not taking and using the knowledge that is yours. You miss the take. Mistakes. Pretty clever, actually.
It is.
And the text argues that once you really get this connection, there is no excuse for errors or suffering, or simply not living your life to the fullest.
That's a bold statement. No excuse. For listeners maybe going through tough times, how does the source suggest we square that with, real life? Is it about blame?
No, definitely not blame. I think it's meant to be empowering, liberating, really.
Okay.
If suffering comes from being disconnected, then understanding this gives you a direct path back to connection, back to freedom, purpose. It means the solution isn't out there somewhere, it's within. It's about recognizing the wisdom you already carry. You know your origin, you share in this knowingness.
And this leads us to that key distinction the sources make. The intellect versus the heart.
Head versus heart.
Right. The intellect, our head-based thinking, is called a small part of you, limited by the sum total of your experiences since you separated from your higher self.
And crucially, this intellect mistakenly assumes that you are a separate and lone being, which the source flat out calls a fantasy.
A fantasy. So what our mind often tells us as truth might just be a story based on that illusion of separation.
Exactly. But the heart, it says, doesn't deal in fantasy. The heart is described as your connection to your whole self, to all intelligence, and to all truth.
So the heart knows instinctively.
That's the idea. It knows what you're doing is right, even if your intellect may not understand and may even argue against it. I like the analogy you used earlier, the phone versus the cloud.
Ah, right. Personal memories on the phone.
But the heart is the cloud account. Access to everything past, present, future potential through that divine connection. The heart, it says, always leads you to right action, to fulfillment, to success, and back to wholeness.
Okay, so with that foundation laid, what does this mean practically? For you listening this week, the focus is enlivening your heart.
Enlivening, making it active, waking it up from being latent, making it truly alive, full of life.
And to tune into that all-knowing intelligence, the guidance is really clear. You need to exit from the mind and go into the heart, because that's where the connection is.
Makes sense. And to help you do that, there's a specific tool, a creating formula. It's very direct.
What is it?
I claim now that I enliven and empower my heart to bring me my all-knowing intelligence.
Enliven and empower. So there are two parts there.
Exactly. Enlivening is the activation, making it alive, like we said. And empowering is about consciously choosing it, shifting the power, the focus from the mind to the heart, giving the heart the steering wheel, so to speak.
Got it. And how do you practice this?
Well, the suggestion is to write the formula down first, get comfortable and familiar with it, then repeat it easily, without the paper, at least once a day this week.
And the key thing?
The key thing is where you are when you say it. Remember to be centered in your heart when you say or think of the formula. And really try to feel the truth of it as you do.
Feel the truth, okay.
And there's another layer to the practice. It also encourages you to discover what thoughts you have that inhibit your heart from opening up to all knowledge.
So identify the roadblocks.
Right. And then deal with those thoughts in the fourth section of the formula by replacing them with thoughts that do support opening. It's about actively clearing the way.
Okay, that makes sense, clearing the path. Now, there's another practice introduced, right? Something kinetic.
Yes, this was pretty interesting. For the second day, and every other day this week, it's about developing a new tool for tapping into that all-knowing intelligence. Specifically, a kinetic signal from your higher self for a yes and a no.
A physical signal, like a twitch or something.
It could be. The text mentions you might already have such a signal. Maybe a chill up the spine, sweaty palms, or a twitch someplace. But the really liberating part is that you are in charge of what signals you want. If you get a signal and you don't like it, maybe it's too obvious or even uncomfortable, you could just tell your higher self to give you a new one.
You can just ask for a different one.
Apparently so. It says this applies to all signals you establish, including the main one for connecting with your higher self. It's your personal system.
Okay, so how do you set up these yes-no signals? What are the steps?
It's quite specific. First, sit comfortably with your head and spine very vertical. Then settle your attention in your heart and consciously get your higher self signal to make sure you're connected.
Right, establish the connection first.
Exactly. Then, for the yes signal, you say, "Dear name, my higher self, please give me a yes signal by rotating my head from right to left 3 times.
3 times for yes.
Okay. Then you just sit easily with your head as though it were sitting on a pivot. And crucially, don't resist any movement. Just let it gently swing. Practice that yes signal several times.
Let it happen. Don't force it.
Precisely. Once you feel comfortable and it's happening consistently, then you ask for the no signal. You say, "Dear your name, my higher self, please give me a no signal by rotating my head from right to left once."
Just once for no.
Yeah.
Got it. Practice that several times too.
Yep. The whole thing is described as muscular training. You're basically programming your subconscious for an automatic, undeniable physical response.
Well,
a skill for life. But there's a warning. Right?
A very important one. This week is only to practice the signals. Do not ask questions that are to be answered by the signals yet.
Why not?
Because, according to the source, tests of this type do not work at this stage. It will apparently just make you vulnerable to doubts. The absolute focus this week is just practice. Get them strongly perfected so you can read yes and no easily, without any doubt.
So build a skill first, test it later.
Exactly. Practice in a quiet place initially. But once it's consistent, the idea is you can use this signal subtly, anywhere. Your own internal GPS, essentially.
That's pretty cool. A personal hotline to wisdom.
Okay,
so beyond these main practices, diving deeper into the sources, especially those discussions, brought up some other really interesting points, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Like connecting back to the unified Mahavakyas we explored before, those great spiritual sayings.
Right, from week 9 and 10. Yeah. Week 9 talked about your motives needing to be selfish with a capital S, that is the higher self. Shifting from that small ease ego desire to desires aligned with your true divine nature.
Which completely reframes selfishness.
Totally. And week 10 said, you only need a simple formula to manifest the world you truly desire, your desire in truth. Again, linking manifestation directly to truth and that inherent knowledge we've been talking about.
And that ties back nicely to the idea of mistakes from week 11.
It does, reiterating that mistakes are not taking and using the knowledge that is yours. You missed the take mistakes. It's about that disconnect, not about being bad.
Less moral failure, more missed connection.
Exactly. And the source goes on to say that with such awareness, every impulse of yours is naturally correct and perfect to bring you experience filled with all of God qualities. When you're tuned in, your impulses align with truth.
Wow. And the heart's role in this, you mentioned it's not literally opening like a door.
Right. It's described more as its expansion and an increase in its pulsation, like a vibration getting stronger.
Pulsation.
Yeah. And that pulsation is the direct connection to God's thought. It's your heart literally becoming alive with that intelligence. The advice is to pay attention to that feeling, enjoy that pulsation, recognize it as the feeling of your connection.
That sounds like something you could really tune into during meditation or quiet moments.
Definitely. And this idea of the heart expanding, becoming more alive, it connects directly to how we handle suffering.
Yeah.
Which brings up letting go.
Ah, yes, letting go. Crucial.
Absolutely central, according to the sources, because the nature of the creation is that it is in constant motion. Everything's flowing, changing.
And suffering comes from resisting that flow.
Often, yes. Clinging to things, resisting change. The analogy used was clothes in a washing machine. If they just float, they're fine, but if they resist, they get banged around.
That's a great image.
And the insight is that the thoughts that make us cling, those sticky thoughts, are often reminders pointing to something inside that needs healing.
So the thought itself isn't the problem, it's a signpost.
Kind of. Once you face, accept, and heal whatever underlying issue is causing the clinging, the thought itself will naturally let go. Which ties into shifting your mindset too, right? Moving beyond lack.
Towards abundance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But true abundance isn't about just getting more stuff because you feel you lack. Yeah. It comes from recognizing your inherent, already existing, unlimited nature.
So it's an internal shift from scarcity to knowingness.
Precisely. From striving to contentment, which is a very different state to operate from.
It certainly is. Now, as you, the listener, start making this shift more heart, maybe a bit less reliance on the old mind patterns the sources warn, it might not always feel smooth.
Yeah, that transition can be bumpy.
Yeah.
As you move from the mind's fantasy view to the heart's connection to truth, the mind might put up a fight.
How does that show up?
Often through amplified emotions. There was a simple example in the discussions about, of all things, burning some roti bread. When operating from the heart, this tiny event wasn't met with the usual frustration or self-criticism. It was just observed. It kind of shattered the old mental concept around failure in that moment. It shows how differently things land.
Little things become less charged.
Right. And this also relates to that feeling people get, shower thoughts.
Ah, yeah. When the best ideas pop up.
Exactly. Because you're relaxed in a sort of meditative state, the usual mental chatter is quieter, you're uncloaked, and you can access deeper insights more easily.
Makes sense.
And just a practical tip that came up, especially relevant if you notice heightened sensitivities around the full moon. Remember, emotion is energy in motion. Lunar energy can amplify that.
So things might feel more intense.
Potentially. The simple advice was to try remaining silent more, maybe just observe, and also writing down thoughts can be a great tool to manage that amplified energy without getting swept away by it.
Good practical tips. Okay, so bringing this all together for your week ahead, what are the key takeaways?
2 core practices, really. First, actively work on enlivening and empowering your heart, using that creating formula. I claim now that I enliven and empower my heart to bring me my all-knowing intelligence. Remember to feel it in your heart.
Feel the truth of it. And the second?
Diligently practicing your kinetic yes-no signals. Just the practice. Focus only on perfecting them this week, getting that clear, undoubtable physical response. No testing yet.
Right. Build the foundation. And it's important to remember these aren't just exercises for 1 week, are they?
Not at all. These are framed as powerful, lifelong skills you're developing. They're like your personal ATM for accessing knowledge, wisdom, your communication channel.
Your direct line to your own inherent truth.
Exactly.
So here's something to think about as you practice this week. As your heart begins to open, to enliven, to vibrate with that all-knowing intelligence, what mistakes might you stop missing? How could your daily life, your choices, your experiences truly transform when you start acting on that subtle, undeniable wisdom flowing directly from your own enlivened heart?